Hello and welcome to episode 2 of my Rangers Football Manager Let's Play. We're just coming up to this game against Celtic and a bit nervous for this. Defence has been very shaky, so we're going to go into transfer and transfer history right now. And we're going to discuss where we've been since the last episode. So I believe the last thing I done was I loaned in Stephen Cavana last time. In fact, let's get the exact date. No, I won't because I don't want to show you the fixture. So yeah, I'm pretty sure that's where we were. So we're going to go with Cavana as the last sort of thing. Outwise, we've just had Ryan Cinnamon, Max Ashmore and Ross McCrory all going out on loan to Airdrie, Livingston and Queen of the South respectively. We brought in Dean Brotherson. He was the player who I was talking about signing last time. Now, I genuinely never ever heard of this lad before. And it came up in one of the press conferences, are you interested in buying him? And the legitimate answer at the time was no. And I had a look at his stats, and I looked at this, and when you look at the stats for here, you've got sort of the potential building blocks of a fairly decent left attacking mid. So I've brought him in, got him on training. This has been added on by the youth manager who does the coaching, individual coaching for the youth team. I put him on the winger for attacking left mid before I dropped him down so that there would be no issues with that. I mean, right now he's not outstanding, but for 19 years old, I felt he was worth the risk. I was going to maybe loan him out again, but we've not done that. So we've got some issues. Heading's one of the issues that's highlighted here, and heading for a left winger is not something that I worry about. As a striker, it would have worried me. As a left winger, it doesn't. It says he's 2-star everywhere. That's probably not the case. I can't imagine him ever getting a game at striker, to be honest with you. And will exclusively be fighting for that left wing spot. I brought in Lloyd Isgrove on loan from Southampton. He can play both left and right wing. He's played a few games left wing for us, 2 games, both off the bench. We'll discuss that in a little bit. Sorry, no, he's played 3 games because he's definitely started one. I'm sure he's came off the bench at least twice, so it says 2 down there. Probably right, but whatever. That is what it is. Then, decent player, 23-year-old, wasn't in the Southampton team, probably never will be, at least on this game. Again, decent stats, nothing outstanding. But again, someone that I can bring in and hopefully can do okay as a winger. Again, decent stats, nothing spectacular. Only a little bit better than Brotherson, but much more match ready. Last of all, and you're going to ask me, where did I get 2.1 million from? Now, as you can see, nobody's gone out. Now, I've got a huge shortlist of players, and John Souttar was one of those guys that I really wanted to sign when I first started this save. I've signed him in previous Football Managers, absolutely quality defender, and he's always been rock solid for me. And I was scouting him, and at first there was no interest, and then suddenly there was an interest that he would maybe sign for us. And what I done is I went to the board and I asked him, expecting a firm no, as it's been for every time I've ever asked the board in any Football Manager to go and sign this player. And I know in real life we have a board that's quite ambitious and wants the club to do well, and they say they will sign players that are available. And when Hearts signed this lad, I wish we'd got him for the $500,000 that Hearts paid, or whatever it was. 170k, just absolutely quality for 170k. And the board said yes. They went out, they done all the deals, and it will show you here the contract. This is not a contract I would ever offer in a month for Sundays. 1.8k a week's absolutely fantastic. No complaints there. 10% wage rise annoys me a little bit, and the minimum release fee, I would want at least double that for this lad, because we will get a big offer, an offer in for him at some point soon, and at 2.3 million, we're just not going to sell him for as much as we could. So he hasn't actually played a game yet. His debut will be this game against Celtic in this episode. For the schedule, I believe this was the last game we played on camera, was Motherwell. So we won against Real Sociedad in a friendly, Harry Forrester scoring early, and that was that. 2-0 win against Queen's Park. As you can see from the team here, very much a changed team with Hodgson, Williams, Robbie McCrory back in, getting another game. bit of match experience for the young goalkeeper. Where were we? Queen's Park. Barton, McGinn, Mackay, Liam Bart, and Zach Rudden all getting games. So as you can see, I did what I said I was going to do. And at this stage, we went through with 9 goals scored and only 1 conceded. So I was fairly happy with that. And then Hamilton happened, and I went full strength again, Hamilton, or almost full strength. I believe we had quite a few suspensions, so likes of Clint Hill and Senderos. And this actually created a tactical change because I noticed something that I wasn't happy with. I'll explain that. It didn't happen for East Fife because, well, things didn't go very well. We basically get a very late equaliser from Lloyd Isgrove, and then a late winner from Isgrove, who came off the bench in this game. 2 assists from Barry Mackay, and the other 2 goals were just errors really from East Fife. One where they clear it out of their own player and it falls kindly for us, and another one where the keeper catches and spills it for Garner to get his 2. I was absolutely livid after this game, to be honest with you. I played Ross McCrory with Senderos. I actually subbed Senderos off and we ended up with a centre back pairing of Ross McCrory and Aidan Wilson. Aidan Wilson, again, another young player, but no, I can't imagine him ever really getting a lot of games for us, to be honest with you. He's okay, but he's never going to be a Rangers quality defender. Then had Dundee. We won 2-1. We deserved this victory. It could have been more. And then Motherwell, we went 2-0 up, and Joey Barton gets... Well, we were 1-0 up when Barton got sent off, and we went 2-0 up, and we lost it in the second half. But to be honest, I think if we had 11 on the pitch, we were on this game. Barton, I'm going to look at selling him in January. To be honest with you, he's on something like 20,000 a week. Yeah, exactly 20,000. This is the second red card he's had already for us, and it's just unacceptable. And then we had Kilmarnock, a fantastic performance again. First half was okay. There was absolutely nothing really to talk about. Second half, Waghorn, who's now our number 1 striker, scored. Senderos scored, and Joe Garner, who came off the bench, scored. Defensively, though, we have been a bit shady, and I'm just going to talk about this as we go through this. We're scouting John Souttar's brother. Oh no, please tell me I've got an option for this. Right, Matt Crooks is coming in for his debut. I'm not really keen on that, to be honest with you, in this game, but with us that are injured, Barton. Actually, wait a minute, Halliday can play there, so we'll go with Halliday in the defensive midfield role, or our defensive midfield role. Yeah, this is box to box. Yeah, I just seen BBM there, and I'm thinking ball winning midfielder for some reason, but that's BWM. So that's me just getting myself confused, but yeah. So he's our more sitting midfielder, and he will do the job there. Barry Mackay, who's got a load of assists. I think it's 3 in the league and plenty more in the cup. By far and away our best player. Jason Holt's been okay as well. Cranshaw got back from injury, didn't even get into the first team before getting injured again. I tried to release him and he didn't like it. Again, I'm probably just going to try and sell him in January. If I can even get... I'll actually take a free transfer for him, to be honest with you. Defensively, Senderos, you're out for Souttar, who will make his debut in this game. Senderos, you are on the bench for Jordan Williams, who's probably actually my second, who is actually preferring to Senderos, but he's probably not quite ready. So the tactical changes, I had to go slightly deeper and took off the offside trap just because I seen the goals we were conceding were just over the top ball, basic as you like. And while we now have that gap to the midfield, which I don't like, I feel this is the correct way to play it if we concede less goals. Roddy McCrory, who is available for the youth team for every game, is our sort of second choice goalkeeper. He was getting tutored by Gilks, but they've just literally fallen out. Overall, I see a lot of improvement this team can make. John Souttar coming in is a huge signing for us. I'm so delighted the board agreed to sign him. And if anyone that follows Scottish football will know this, he is one of the next big things in Scottish football. He was part of that Dundee United team, youth team that came through. You had him and Ryan Gold were the 2 sort of big named ones. And then there was other 2 slightly older ones, Mackay Stevens and Stuart Armstrong, who both are currently at Celtic. Ryan Gold and John Souttar are slightly younger and are the 2 sort of more developed ones. Just quickly answer this. Real buzz around training. No, I want him all. He's passionate about Old Firm games. Yeah, we're always going to close him down. tackling hard on Scott Brown because we might get a reaction. Close down Callum McGregor. No idea who this Mbara guy is. Interesting to see Ian O'Connell, or however you pronounce it, in defence over Shevchenko. This kid is a kid who's really highly rated, but I didn't think. Never. I wanted always. Seriously highly rated, but I didn't think he'd be ready for an Old Firm game. Moussa Dembele obviously absolutely tearing it up in real life just now. Other than that, Roca, I don't know who that is. Lustig's a very good right back. Kolo Toure, phenomenal signings for Celtic in the summer. Excuse me. So this is Celtic away. Let's give the fans something to cheer about, and I'm just going to go with the I believe in you sort of attitude here. We have on paper by far the worst team. Even the players I'm signing, John Souttar, who is equal to our current defenders, potential to be phenomenal. John McGinn again, slightly our best midfielder, but again potential to be phenomenal. We're building a team around those two players long term. As I said, I've got a fairly large short list of a lot of players, a fair amount of defensive players and a few creative players. There's not really any strikers on that list right now, and that's not because I don't think we need strikers. I just feel other positions need improving first. And of the options that I knew a lot of midfielders that I wanted to look at. I knew a lot of defenders I wanted to have a look at, and the scouts haven't really recommended a striker for me to have a look at properly yet. We've also got young Matthew Knox, who's out on loan at Livingston, and we've got I forget his name. The lad in our youth team anyway, Zach Rudden, I think it is. I'll double check that after the game. And I think those two players will develop into being hopefully our top two strikers for a long time anyway. So the striker issue isn't one that I'm that concerned about addressing, because long term I feel like we've got options. Oh no. John, get there. No. Oh, so basic. Such a basic goal. Tavernier just heads it back. John Souttar switches off on his debut. There was the one concern about him signing him is he isn't a big game player, and obviously at Rangers you're going to have a lot of big games. That's a Rob Kiernan mistake. That anyone that's watched Rangers in the last couple of years since Warburton took over will notice that's the kind of mistake Rob Kiernan makes. But yeah, John Souttar isn't a big game player, and that was one of the worries, because we do have a lot of big games. But it's never been an issue for me in previous Football Managers. Right, let's come on, motivate them. Yes, that's worked. Okay, I'm going to have to bring Matt Crooks on at some point and move Halliday into the more advanced of those two midfield roles. Souttar plays it to McGinn. Absolutely nothing happening there, just the usual kick-off malarkey. So the first highlight we had a Celtic goal. Can the second one be a Rangers goal, please? Dembele just walking around Danny Wilson like he isn't even there. Danny Wilson's actually been our standout player this season. I cannot fault the lad. He's been every other match. He's been man of the match, and the sort of that East 5 game and the Hamilton game where we conceded 5 goals in the 2 games, which is our worst sort of goal record. Danny Wilson was out for both of those games. He was suspended for the Hamilton game from picking up the yellows in the Betfred Cup, or the League Cup, whatever it's called these days. And we're going to bring Garner on for Holt and move Waghorn back into the attacking midfield role there. So yeah, he was out, and then I forgot to put him back in, and it's not that I forgot to put him back in, I decided to give McCrory a game, and I should have maybe have put McCrory and Wilson together, but it was what it was. Wait, I'm going to call it I messed up. Isgrove for Forrester, please. I actually got Isgrove because he could play both sides, and he was going to be second choice for both sides according to my scouts. But Barry Mackay's just been so good, and his fitness levels are really good, that I've never needed him on the right hand side. It's always been on the left. I started on my game and he done okay, and he came off on in the East Fife game, and obviously got us back into the game and then won it. What an absolute shambles that game was, by the way. I was head between hands for almost the whole game. Just could not bring myself to watch it. As Celtic are on the attack again, and that's a goal. Oh, what a save from Foderingham. Again, goalkeeper's another issue area where Foderingham isn't a long-term option. McCrory is. Obviously, neither is Gilks. I don't think Gilks will ever play a game for us. I think even in the games, I think McCory is just about close enough in ability to Gilks that if there's ever an issue with Fotheringham, I'm still going to trust them anyway and just take the development. I mean, I might change my mind when I do it if they concede some daft goals, but yeah, that's going to happen when you're developing a young goalkeeper. I've always used my young goalkeepers in cups, and the way I've done it is Celtic score again through Roger. That's just another over the top ball, and there's just a hole in our defence, and there's nothing really I know how to change that apart from get better defenders. Souttar will get there. Wilson's again not a long term option. I think I've got something like 6 centre backs that have either been recommended or I decided to look at myself on my short list. So that will hopefully be addressed by next season. If not, well, even Ross McCrory I don't think is ever going to be good enough, to be honest with you. 2-0 defeat to Celtic away is not an embarrassing scoreline here, to be honest with you. I would probably have taken that at the start of the game, but at the same time, I'm a Rangers fan and I'm managing Rangers on Football Manager. I want to win games, so I'm a little bit disappointed here, but this isn't a bad result for where we are right now, considering the team that they've got compared to the team we've got. And again, as I said, I've got a short list that's huge, and we're never going to afford all these players, and we're never going to buy all these players either. We'd just be such an abundance. But a lot of the guys are taking 1-2 million for every single one of them, and I'm just going to go calmly, not happy with that. Try and improve in the future. But yeah, no shots on target. That's just unacceptable. We do boss possession, which is good. We haven't been really bossing possession that much recently, but we're now 2 points behind Celtic, who have 2 games in hand, and our objective is to win the league. I don't really know if they'll keep me on if I finish second, which is the big issue here with managing Rangers. But again, you're talking about 10-15 million to close the gap to Celtic, to sign players that even 5 years ago in Football Manager you'd be signing willy-nilly for Rangers. Rob Kieran has been playing well for Partick Thistle. Some positives, there's not really. Apart from it was only 2-0. Saw enough for us to build on. So, another disappointing result. Next game will bring you back for Aberdeen, I think, is too soon, as is Hearts. So, let's go with a home game for the next one, actually. So, let's go St Johnstone. So, episode 3 will be St Johnstone at home. It's a little bit of time. I would have brought you back for the Aberdeen game, which again, if you don't know Scottish football, Aberdeen's a big rivalry with Rangers, but I think that it's just slightly too soon. There wouldn't be that much to talk about. There's going to be no transfers between here and St Johnstone anyway, but at least it gives us something to talk about. So again, thank you very much for watching. Actually, I was going to check the name of that young lad. Have I got it set by potential? No, I don't. I've got it set by position. Yeah, it was Zach Runn. This guy. Again, he's actually a reason I should have said it before. We start with a target man, and I changed it to an advanced forward, and I felt it just completed the team a bit. I do prefer target mans as a lone striker, but it seems to be working with the advanced forward, at least going forward. Again, the team's just not strong enough to be really going for a title here, but hopefully we can sort that out for next season, and hopefully I can keep my job if I don't win the title, which I think is increasingly likely. I'm just going to have a look, see how Celtic are getting on in Europe just before we go. Schedule. So they are in the Champions League, so hopefully they can do well on that. They've got Group E, so Group E. Sevilla, PSV, Celtic and Leicester. So that's actually a group that they could get out of, which would be really beneficial for us for the coefficients. Anyway, thank you very much for watching. I hope you've enjoyed, and if you wouldn't mind maybe hitting the like and subscribe button, thank you very much, and I'll hopefully see you next time.